Welcome, everybody, to this September 28th, 2023 meeting of the Board of Directors of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Vice Chair Aquino?
Here.
Director Daniels?
Here.
Director Desmond?
Here.
Director Frost?
Here.
Director Guerra? Director Hume? Director Kennedy?
Here.
Director Laloe?
Here.
Director Maple? Here. Director Papineau? Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Singh Allen? Okay.
I wasn't seeing her.
I think she might have fell off. Director Terry?
Here.
Director Singh Allen, are you able to speak now?
Yes, sorry about that. I'm having internet issues.
No problem. One question real fast. Director Laloe, we don't have you as a teleconference location. Are you going to be utilizing the Brown Act revision? You're on mute.
I'm sorry. I thought my office had arranged the Zoom, so I know I posted where I'm conducting the Zoom from, which is my own office.
Let's see, 1 second. 2, 3, 4. 6, 7, 8, 9. Unfortunately, we did not notify that, but we have quorum without including Director Laloe, if you want to proceed.
What does that, this is new territory. What
This
does,
is new territory.
what does,
territory. I suggest that he just not vote. He can listen, but
Okay.
I don't think we need his vote.
okay,
anyway.
did you get that, Director Laloe?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I listen, take notes, but don't vote.
Thank you very much. All right, would everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would the clerk please read the announcements?
Sure. Members of the public are encouraged to observe the meeting in real time at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Participate in person via Zoom video or teleconference line and by submitting written comments to boardclerk@airquality.org. Comments will be delivered to the Board of Directors. Public comments regarding matters under the jurisdiction of the Board of Directors will be acknowledged by the chairperson, distributed to the Board of Directors, and included in the record. This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Local Government Affairs Channel, and Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T UVerse cable system. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will be repeated on Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023 at 2 p.m. on Channel 14.
Thank you very much. And once again, just to reiterate, we do have 3 members online. We have Director Terry, Director Singh Allen, Director Laloe, and Director Laloe will be participating but not voting. That takes us to our consent calendar. We have items 1 through 4. Are there any members of the board that would like to address any of those issues or have an item removed from the consent calendar? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to address the board on an item on the consent calendar?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I'll move the calendar. Terry.
Okay, we have a motion by Director Terry and a second by the Vice Chair. Please call the roll.
Vice Chair Aquino?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Desmond? Aye. Director Frost? Aye. Director Guerra? Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
Director Maple? Aye. Director Papineau? Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen?
Aye.
Director Terry?
Aye.
Director Vang? The consent calendar passes.
Thank you. Next item, please.
So the next item on the agenda is public hearing, item number 5. Adopt the Sacramento Regional 2015 National Ambient Air Quality Standards 8-hour ozone attainment and reasonable further progress plan. And I have Mark Lautzenheiser in chambers to give his presentation.
Good morning.
Morning. It is now.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Kennedy, members of the board. I am Mark Lautzenheiser, Division Manager of Monitoring, Planning, and Rules Division here at Sacramento Air District. Last month, you had an opportunity to get an in-depth presentation from David Young of our staff, who went over in a lot of detail our state implementation plan for the 2015 Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard. And yes, that is a mouthful. So today, though, we are before you just to go ahead and conduct the public hearing on this item. Next slide, please. So just as a very quick high level, really what's going on here is the state implementation plan is our roadmap on how to go ahead and meet the federal air quality standards. It is our map to go ahead and get there between now and 2032. Because really the crux of it is we still suffer from a lot of air pollution here in our region, not just our region, but all of our residents, the people that live, work, and play here in Sacramento and the surrounding areas. And it is important to note, though, that our plan does address all of the federal requirements. It's a little bit of light reading. I believe it's upwards of about 300 pages if you ever have a little insomnia at night. Next slide, please. So in terms of the outreach and public comment on this item, we did have a workshop back in the middle of July on the contingency measures that are part of the plan. As of the August 22nd, we did go out to public notice for the document. We did receive only one comment on the plan itself. It was actually a clarifying question. The prison industry wanted to know if boilers and steam generators were specifically impacted by the state implementation plan. The answer is no, there is nothing specific in there as part of the plan. With that then, next slide, please. So for today, what we are asking the board to do is to go ahead and please conduct a public hearing. Once a public hearing has concluded, to determine that the plan is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, to go ahead and approve the resolution adopting the plan and directing staff to go ahead and forward the plan to the California Air Resources Board for submittal to EPA. And I am available for any questions that the board may have.
Are there any questions from the board at this time? Hearing none, then I will open up the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the board on this item? Hearing and seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
I will move the staff recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Aquino and a second by Director Maple. Please call the roll.
Vice Chair Aquino?
Aye.
Director Daniels?
Aye.
Director Desmond? Aye. Director Frost?
Aye.
Director Guerra? Director Hume? Chair Kennedy?
Aye.
Director Laloy? Director Maple?
Aye.
Director Papineau? Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Singh Allen?
Aye.
Director Terry?
Aye.
Director Vang?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here for the presentation. Thank you.
The public hearing passes.
Okay, next item.
The next item on the agenda is the discussion calendar. Item number 6, public workshop on hydrogen industry developments and the Sacramento region. I have Albert Ayala here to start the presentation.
Thank you. Dr. Aiello, thank you for kicking this off. I will also make one brief comment, and that's, how we got here, why we're here. So a lot is happening in this particular segment of the energy industry. Hydrogen fuel cells and hydrogen fueling is no longer something that is a long-term issue. It's in front of us now, and I asked for staff to arrange to have this workshop so that we can look at the state of the industry, where we are now, where we're going. I think it's an important, there's a lot of misinformation out there. Some will lead you to believe that it's very, very much in the infancy. I personally don't think so. We have some ways to go, but I hope that this will help to shed clearer light. I also wanted to do this in light of there's a number of us who have crossover with other boards where this issue is coming up. For example, regional sanitation. So I thought it would be a good opportunity wearing those hats as well. And with that, Dr. Aiello.
Well, thank you, Chair, and thank you for setting us up that way. You're making this very easy. I want to thank you for your leadership in putting this topic in front of the board. The first thing I want to do is I want to welcome our attendees today. We have some of our strongest partners from Sacramento RT and SMUD and others. Thank you for the participation. I also want to thank our panelists. We are very fortunate that we were able to put together a group of leading experts in this topic. And really our objective today is to get a collective understanding of what the potential of hydrogen has for the Sacramento region. The energy transition in the greater Sacramento region is well underway. What we are here to do is to collectively try to understand with the help of the panelists, what role should hydrogen really be playing? Not only in transportation, as you mentioned, Chair, but in some of the other sectors, right? Like the power sector and the utilization of bioresources, that is a growing area. Clearly, things are different today. Hydrogen is been in the making for many years, decades. But what is different today, I think, is beyond supportive state policy and federal policy, is the massive investments that we're anticipating, the massive tax credits that are coming to the industry. So really, to echo what you said, Mr. Chair, my goal, what I would like us to do is, as a region, to really understand, get our hands around what is the potential for hydrogen for us. I don't want us to be on the sidelines if this is something that we should be jumping in front of it. So that's really the point of the workshop today. A little bit of logistics, the way this is going to run is I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Jennifer Hamilton. She and the panelists are going to introduce themselves. Once we finish with the introductory remarks and the content of the presentation, then we're going to open it up to you for questions. We have a number of elected officials in the audience, so they will come next. And then third, we're going to open it up for the public, both in chambers as well as on the Zoom. So without further ado, Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ayala, and thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today and present to you. So I'm Jennifer Hamilton. I am the Deputy Director at the California Hydrogen Business Council. My hydrogen career started almost 18 years ago at the California Fuel Cell Partnership, which is now the Hydrogen Fuel Cell Partnership. I am a California native and a Sacramento native. And full disclosure, I'm also a fuel cell electric vehicle owner and driver and Toyota customer. I drive a Mirai, and I'm on my second one, actually. And it's a wonderful experience. So I'd like to just give you a little introduction to the CHBC and what we do. Next slide, please. So the California Hydrogen Business Council is actually the oldest and largest trade association for hydrogen and fuel cell industry. And we work with our members across the board on a consensus basis and support the policies that then drive the business of hydrogen in California. We also offer a lot of information sharing amongst our members and networking opportunities. We have an annual event that is our California Hydrogen Leadership Summit, where we bring industry and the public and decision makers together and talk about what's happening in the industry so that these policymakers can have good information to make the decisions moving forward. I also lead some advocacy groups, our policy initiatives, and then we have our sector action groups, are the three that you see listed on the left there, for goods movement, heavy-duty transport, and clean ports, for public transportation, and renewable hydrogen energy storage and power generation. And that is a bulk of where our information sharing comes from. Next slide. We do represent a diverse member set, and you can visit our website to see our current list of members, but they do span across the entire sector, from component suppliers to fueling station developers, utilities, hydrogen producers, and so really have that broad spectrum of input from across the industry. Next slide. A little bit more on our policy and advocacy, where we work to come together with our members and develop those policy positions and really, again, support that through attending events and workshops, providing comment, and we do have lobbyists that we have working kind of boots on the ground to give input to, some of those legislative or to the legislative language and working to get those policies moved forward. We are working to support California in a number of ways, including the input to the IPER report, to SB 1075, CARB's SB 1075 report, and various other areas where, there's information and good information that's needed. Next slide. I also want to highlight our relationship with the Center for Hydrogen Safety. This is an international organization focusing, as the title states, on hydrogen safety. This is something that I've been dealing with throughout my career in hydrogen. It's an excellent resource, and I just also want to make the statement that safety is absolutely a top priority amongst all of our members and all of the activities and the projects that they engage in, and it always has been. So something that sometimes doesn't get mentioned, but I just wanted to highlight that here. Thank you very much. And I will now turn it over to our lovely panel for their presentations and introductions. And who do we have up first?
So let me just interrupt real fast. Just real fast before we get started with the presentations, if anybody in chambers would like to speak on this item, we have request to speak forms over here at the podium, so you can just complete that form and then bring it up to me. Once we're open for public comment, we'll go ahead and start calling you. As far as the panel goes, I have Dr. Jack Brower, Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Professor and Director of the National Fuel Cell Research Center at the University of California, Irvine.
Thank you very much. That was my introduction, so hopefully we can jump into the first slide, because I'm a proud Californian, proud that we have introduced the policy framework that is for clean air, especially, leading the world in this space, but also leading the world in decarbonization and depollution efforts worldwide. And CARB has understood that we must invest in sun and wind power and battery energy storage systems. The plan shows that we need over 200 megawatts, 200 gigawatts, of installed capacity going forward. So far, we lead the whole nation in solar, and this is our historic additions of solar. You can see it's about 2,000 to 3,000 megawatts per year. And if you look at what our current policy trajectory will be, we're going to end up about 1/3 of the amount of solar power that we need, The capacity range we need to be in is this orange range, and we're headed toward the blue. Only 1/3, So we have to increase the pace. And we know this, the state of California at CAISO is already investing in new policies for introducing more and more sun, wind power, and battery energy storage. That's why we're going to grow from installing only 2,700 megawatts a year to about 7,000 megawatts a year. Next. This is also being handled by two major control levers. One is negative prices. This is helping us manage a whole bunch of sun and wind power. And we're managing it by curtailment. Again, these are good levers. We must over-install the sun and wind power, and we must sell it at negative prices sometimes and do some curtailment. But the rate of increase is not sustainable. And we're already the leading state in battery energy storage systems. So we have challenges already with the dynamics, even though we're only at about half decarbonized so far. Go ahead. So how do we change this? The new trajectory is to connect the electric grid to hydrogen. That will offer a way in which we can handle curtailment, but also transmission and distribution challenges, because now we'll have two ways that we can move this clean energy, one through wires and the other through pipes. This is the fundamental difference that you can make. We did a study where we could close all the valves in the gas system here and install solar just here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Yes, and put hydrogen in the pipes. This one project, 20 miles by 20 miles in the desert, no new transmission lines, could add 40 points of renewable content to our electric grid. This is because the pipe system and the energy you can transmit via hydrogen is massive in comparison to what you could do via wires. We also looked at the whole state and whether or not the whole state could actually store all the renewable energy we need, and pumped hydro is not big enough. Neither are all the cars, okay? The only vector that has the massive storage capacity, keep going, is hydrogen. Hydrogen has this ability to separately power and energy scale so that you can actually make seasonal amounts of storage using this fuel. So it has a special feature that's different than batteries. Keep going. Yes, next. It also can deliver the energy underground. So via wires and pipes, we're going to have a resilient and reliable system. If we don't do both, it's not going to be reliable. It also has lighter weight than batteries. So the heavy-duty applications are especially susceptible and needed for hydrogen transition, okay? Can you go back a second? Because on transportation, anything that requires rapid fueling, long range, or large payload is going to prefer the hydrogen vector compared to batteries. Next. There also are industry applications that must have hydrogen as a chemical that reacts with the metal for steel manufacturing, for example, or as a chemical for making the ammonia or fertilizer. And there are several other features that I haven't been able to actually highlight. Keep going. Sorry. 11 features described in this paper. So if you want to read about all the features of hydrogen, they're different than the other vectors that we've invested in so far. Okay, they're different features that we must have for zero emissions future. Next. Okay, fortunately, the federal government has agreed to invest in this vector too, and these Earth shots have been announced, and ARCHES is supported by the state, but also supported by our federal government. Hopefully, they'll decide to award this proposal to us. It's a $12 billion investment in hydrogen. It's just the beginning, but this could transform our future. And we're showing throughout the state projects that will especially decarbonize ports, decarbonize heavy-duty transit, and power generation. Okay, so hydrogen has features that no other zero-emissions vector has, and we must have these features if we want to decarbonize and depollute everything.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. What I'm going to ask of the board is if we can hold the questions until all of the panelists have gone, just because we don't want to step on their punchline, and they may answer questions.
I just want to know what you had for breakfast, because I want some.
Hydrogen Wheaties.
Gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Jack's always like that, Supervisor.
So next, for giving a presentation is Dr. Matt Miyasoto, Vice President of Strategic Growth and Governmental Affairs with First Element Fuel.
Yeah, thank you, Selena. Thank you, Chairman Kennedy, for inviting First Element and for me personally to participate. I also want to thank the staff at Sacramento AQMD for inviting us to participate, and especially Dr. Ayala for letting me sit in his seat this morning. So I do appreciate that. Just to start things off, who's here on the board has driven a fuel cell vehicle, just so I can get a basis? Okay. How many of you driven an electric vehicle? Okay, so a fuel cell vehicle is just like an electric vehicle, only better, and I'll try to explain why. Next slide. So who is First Element? So we are a small business that was started about 10 years ago with investments from some Japanese OEMs, car makers, as well as other Japanese industrial businesses, but more importantly, with a large grant from the California Energy Commission to deploy hydrogen fueling infrastructure. So since then, we've become the leading market retail hydrogen provider in California. And you can see from the slide, we have 40 stations that are about evenly distributed between Southern California and the Bay Area. Since we are the leading retailer in hydrogen fueling infrastructure in California, we believe that also makes us the leading retailer anywhere in the world because of California's aggressive policies to deploy hydrogen fueling and its climate and air quality goals. Next slide. So 10 years ago, this is what we started with. This was state-of-the-art equipment. You can see, I don't know if you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there you go. That was a single dispenser. It was gaseous hydrogen. So all that means is we could only put about 250 kilograms of the fuel on site. And you can see that this is no way to start a market. It's good for early adopters, but if you're the guy in the back there, you're probably not going to get fuel. Or if you are going to get fuel, you may get a partial fill, and it'll probably take you about an hour. So in order to combat that, to really to provide a seamless transition for consumers, if you go to the next slide, we have since innovated and gone to liquid hydrogen, so we can store 5 times more fuel on site. We have 4 simultaneous fueling positions, so much like you see in a gasoline station. And you can see that we've integrated our dispensers with gasoline and diesel dispensers in existing gas stations. The only one that's a little bit different, you can see up in the upper right-hand corner in Fountain Valley, that is off to the side, but it is in a gas station, and you can see by our trademarked wings over the dispensers, so folks know that it is hydrogen on site. If you go to the next slide. But what that has done, it has enabled us to provide for heavy-duty truck fueling using liquid hydrogen. And it's important to note the difference is because for trucks, you need to fuel very quickly, right? Because the fleet owners are not going to sit around and wait for 40 minutes to get a full fill. And so we're deploying the first ever fast fill heavy-duty truck station in Oakland, California. It's part of a California Energy Commission grant and California Air Resources grant. It's being administered by CTE. It's called the NorCal Zero project. 30 hydrogen fuel cell trucks by Hyundai will be deployed. This is a Hyundai fuel cell truck that's actually fueling at one of our light-duty stations. So that takes 40 minutes. When the heavy-duty station is complete, it'll take 10 minutes to fuel a vehicle. Right? So much like you would see in a normal diesel application. If you go to the next slide, this is another couple trucks that are fueling at our Livermore facility. But again, it's a partial fill in this case, so it's 30 minutes, but they won't get the full fill. If you go to the next slide, I just want to conclude with a discussion about scale. Right, so. Currently, the state of California, we sell 16 million vehicles every year, light-duty vehicles, and less than 300,000 of those are zero emissions. So that's battery electric and fuel cell. And it turns out fuel cell vehicles are only about less than 3,000. If you do one more click, Selena, it turns out that drayage trucks today, there's about 200,000 drayage trucks that go into and out of the ports across California. Less than 200 are zero-emission vehicles, and only about 30, the ones that we're deploying and demonstrating in Oakland, are fuel cell vehicles. Right, so if you click on the next slide, so as we look to the future, as you know, the state of California has promulgated regulations that require every vehicle sold in California, light duty in 2035, has to be zero emissions. Similarly, every drayage truck in California has to be zero emissions. So if we just assume that a third of those are going to be fuel cells, that's a significant number of vehicles that we need to provide the infrastructure for. And that's what we're trying to do. And I just, if you click the next slide, I can just conclude by saying there's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And I just have to applaud this board because you are one of the few, I think you're the only, I take that back, you're the only local air district that has funded heavy-duty fueling. Even my alma mater at this, South Coast AQMD has not funded a heavy-duty hydrogen truck station as yet, but I'm going to keep telling them Sacramento's done it. You guys better get in the ball. But we need everyone on this panel, as well as the local air districts, to contribute if we're going to get to a zero-emission transition for transportation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miyasato. I think you won't mind if I just make a couple comments on your presentation. We've known each other a long time, right? Worked together for a long time. Just for the benefit of our audience, that when Dr. Miyasato references the liquid hydrogen, it is for storage. These vehicles currently are using gaseous hydrogen, so that's just kind of clarification. And then he mentioned 250 kilograms. So on an energy basis, while these vehicles do not burn hydrogen, these are fuel cell electric vehicles, so they are using the hydrogen to generate electricity on board. If you did burn a kilogram of hydrogen and a gallon of gas, you'd get about the same energy content in BTUs, and so the kilograms of hydrogen and gallon of gas equivalent, they're sort of interchangeable. So when he says 250 kilograms of storage, that's really about like 250 gallons of gas. So I just wanted to make those
Thank you, Jennifer.
little small clarifications. Yeah.
Our next panel member, Mr. J.R. Wellman, founder of Overwatch Capital.
Thank you. Sacramento Municipal AQMD Board and staff, thank you for having all of us today. Lovely to be here. Jennifer, thank you for facilitating the panel. I'm going to take a little bit of a slight tack here. I'm usually the high energy guy, but Dr. Brower stole the show, so I'll try to remain calm today. Ultimately, if we kind of zoom out here, the key takeaway, especially for our neighbors, our family, our friends, our fellow Americans, what we're trying to do here is to renovate an industry that has served us really well and created a high quality lifestyle for all of us Americans, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. And it's done that very well for, say, 100 to 120 years as we've kind of grown with energy. We have to renovate that sector to sustain and improve our quality of life into the future. And this is the key takeaway for all of us to understand. All these grid constraints, the economic constraints, the pain points that all of us Americans are feeling, especially with energy prices, whether it's electricity, whether it's fueling costs, we do have a pathway to solve all this. This is the great news. That's why the energy is so important, no pun intended. You know, as I was driving up from San Diego yesterday, I saw 2 or 3 large-scale trucks on the road transporting hydrogen, specifically the gaseous hydrogen for fueling use, perhaps at the first element fueling stations across the state. So we see glimpses of this energy transition future. The energy transition future requires this bridge, you know, much the same way that Sacramento and California became this, you know, land of aplenty and of resources for people to come move west and to create their own lives and raise their standard of living from elsewhere. It still continues to be that. Well, the lessons learned through history, we can then deploy into the future. We can take all these lovely tools and solutions and incentives and then create these markets here and then help bring the rest of the country, the rest of the world up to our level. It's that California leadership that Californians have provided across institutions, academia, across industry. So within Sacramento, and I speak of this from the bottom up, you know, I learned all the fundamentals at Fuel Cell Energy and many of the projects that Dr. Brower helped create over the last 20 years. And then was able to get on with Bloom and see what they're doing, and then connecting with Cummins and Mainspring and so many other great providers here. We have all these tools at the microgrid level to then create decarbonized resources no matter the fuel source, whether it's biogas from landfills, wastewater plants, whether it's from ag waste in the Central Valley, whether it's from pyrolysis of cellulosic and lignin to make RNG, which then supports the hydrogen. The key here is that our quality of life, to sustain it into this kind of scarcity future with all these constraints at the electric grid level, at the hydrocarbon level, we can actually elevate and transcend around it with all of these tools. It's the pathway to good jobs. It's a pathway to bring home the bacon for your constituents with respect to federal and state funding opportunities and many other organizations to improve the actual quality of life for your constituents. And by doing that, we then provide that infrastructure to scale into the future. So part of the problem is that the problem is actually the solution. If we solve around it, we work around it. So one of the things that we try to do here is take all these lovely solutions across all these industries and all the subsidies that have been generously provided by the taxpayers the last 30, 40, 50 years, and now apply it to novel offtake. Economic offtake, especially for prosperity at the business level, is really the key here. We have all these subsidies, we have all these incentives, we have all these great solutions. How do we connect it to business locally? And how do we leverage those local business connections to create prosperity for the workers, for the people here in Sacramento and the county and writ large? So ultimately, happy to drill down on technical stuff. As Jaime and Dr. Ayala and Victoria know, I can talk people's ears off regarding all this stuff for weeks at a time. But ultimately, the big picture here is that if we're going to sustain the American quality of life for everyone, to Dr. Brower's point, scaling the ability to hyperscale intermittent renewables of wind and solar, hydrogen is that bridge. The same way that the bridge exists here in Sacramento to connect all the rail transport in the old days to get to San Francisco and other places, hydrogen is the same bridge to get us preserve our lifestyle, renovate our energy house, so to speak, and to then deliver that future to the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next panel member, Tom Swinton, Manager of Global Regulations Affairs at Cummins. Give me 1 second, I'll bring up her presentation.
I was going to say he looks a lot like Donald Terry.
Must be a good-looking guy.
I was thinking the same thing. Good morning, Tom Swenson with Cummins. 20 years with Cummins, and proud to say I did a 10-year stint with the Sacramento Air District before I joined Cummins, so 1993 to 2003. This has been a bit of an old home week, or day, or morning, or however we're going to put it, because I've seen some folks that haven't seen in quite a while, so it's fun to be here. Next slide, please. Just to give you a sense of Cummins, so a lot of people think about Cummins as a truck engine manufacturer. We're a worldwide producer of powertrains, just short of 74,000 employees, 104 years in the business. But really the key takeaway is the investment that I wanted to point out. So last year, we invested over $1 billion in these kinds of technologies. Now, not just hydrogen, but we're in, of course, the diesel space, which is our traditional business. We're in natural gas, we're in hydrogen, we're in electric powertrains, we're also in electrolyzers, which make hydrogen. So we touch lots of areas of the community. Next slide, please. But we don't build vehicles. We don't build equipment, we build the powertrains that go into them. And this is just a sampling of what our powertrains go into. And we're really uniquely positioned to provide solutions to companies that build the equipment that don't have the resources to develop these technologies on their own. So these are folks that are buying our existing powertrains. They're looking to us to provide them the next generation powertrains. Next slide, please. And as we look at the market, I know we're focused here today on hydrogen, but as we look at the market and we look at our customer needs, because at the end of the day, goods, services, and people need to move, right? This is about transportation of goods and services and people. And so we're working on all of these technologies so that we can provide the best fit technology for the right application for the customer. So we work very closely with our customers to figure out what do they need to do, and then what technology is appropriate for them to be able to do that in the lowest emission manner possible. So this sort of gives you a flavor of all the things that we're working on. So diesel, natural gas, hydrogen combustion, which is, we sort of call it hydrogen ICE or internal combustion engine, another use for hydrogen. We're super excited about this. Not so much to continue combustion, but we view it as a near-term path to grow the hydrogen market, make scale changes. So we can deploy this technology basically today in existing infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I mean like truck chassis, right? We know how to build engines. We can do this. And that sort of makes, I'll say it's a bridge, although I think it's probably a long bridge, because again, there's going to be different technologies for different applications. But as fuel cells continue to deliver or develop, and that infrastructure, so the fueling infrastructure develops, we can sort of spur that along using, I'll say, existing known technologies. Next slide, please. So on the emission, zero emission front, you can see here are the things that Cummins is involved in. So electrolyzers, fuel cell systems, electrified components, so that's batteries. We're making batteries in the US at our Columbus plant. Powertrain systems, so electric axles and those sorts of things, and then traction motors. So we're touching all of these pieces. and can really pull all of the technologies together in one platform. Next slide, please. So looking forward to the conversation today, and since I'm wrapping it up, I think we're going to move to questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of our panelists. Appreciate it. We'll first go to the board. Are there any questions at this time from the board of our panel? I'm seeing no one punching up. Director Cerna.
Thank you. Thank you to all the presenters. This is a fascinating subject, one that I'm glad the chair brought front and center to this board. With regard to the last presentation, I saw one of the technologies, and you mentioned it briefly, was hydrogen internal combustion engines. I noted it said zero emission or zero carbon.
Zero carbon. Yep.
So can you go a little bit deeper in explaining what that technology entails?
Yeah, so you can combust hydrogen. So we're using the same hydrogen that you would put in a fuel cell, and we will run it through an engine. So it's a zero carbon fuel.
So you use it like a natural gas?
It's very much like our natural gas engine platform. So we would burn it. Now the folks will say, but it still has emissions, and it does, right? And so we'll still have NOx emissions. So even though it's zero carbon fuel, there's nitrogen in the air, you get heat, you get some NOx. We can control that NOx quite tightly through both engine controls and after treatment, and so that we can get the emissions really low. So our view is use what we've got at the moment to jumpstart the hydrogen economy. Get that volume up, get the infrastructure, the fueling infrastructure in place, get the price of the fuel down. That's one of the big constraints right now is the price of the fuel. So we're looking at it as a way to sort of jumpstart the market with stuff that we know how to do today. That doesn't mean that we're against developing fuel cells or using it in other ways. In fact, we see it very much in parallel. So, we think we can use those existing knowledge bases to basically transfer right into the hydrogen space.
Is there any opportunity for retrofit technology?
Retrofitting of existing engines, probably not. You spend enough money on anything, you can do it, right?
I mean, you'd have to strip an engine down to its block, basically.
Yeah, you need to rebuild it. And generally, as we think about these sort of things, and it's the same answer for natural gas, our recommendation is buy new. It's designed for that fuel and that application. It's got the fuel tanks, it's got the sensors, all of those sorts of things.
Sure. Another general question for all the panelists, and it really comes from a conversation I just had yesterday with someone that also works in this space. But it seems to me that there's a lot of convergence of a lot of policy and legislation around a number of subjects. For instance, here in California, we're now becoming accustomed to separating our food waste, right? And so, I'd like to hear maybe what you all think about the prospect of using that as a feedstock, as well as agricultural byproducts. I think someone mentioned cellulose. So, for instance, when a harvest occurs each season, what's left, I suspect, I'm not a scientist, but I suspect that might have some potential as a joint feedstock along with food waste and other streams. But I'd like to kind of hear some thoughts on that.
And if I may, too, just to add on that, not just the food waste and the agricultural waste, but honestly, most of us sit on the regional sanitation district as well, but human waste.
Well, Director Cerna, and that's a great question. So I look at the municipal solid waste world as an enormous opportunity. And I think I'll try to frame it from the standpoint of if we're going to comply and exceed the AB 1383 goal, it's going to require large-scale cellulosic waste, lignin waste being turned into RNG, especially from here in the Central Valley, the Salinas Valley. There's going to be a little bit of a conflict there maybe with municipal solid waste guys and compost and that thing, but it shouldn't be that hard. We can monetize compost a lot better than letting it sit there doing nothing. With respect to the municipal solid waste world, I think on the collection side of it, there's a really interesting opportunity that I've been working on where you've got garbage collection firms, the logistics side of it, and they're under significant regulatory pressure regarding their transport fleet of trucks. And they have about, I think, 7 years or so to kind of figure out what to do to replace their entire fleet of IC engines with what I typically see somewhere like a 60-40, 70-30 split between battery electrics and hydrogen fuel cell drivetrains based upon routes, intensity, things like that. Now, the good news is the industry itself has been waiting for this ERIN program to come out from the EPA. We're still waiting, that's fair, no problem. The cool part is in this municipal solid waste world, we can create a best standard to link transport economics, captive transport that these guys already have, and then solve to that problem. And this is where Dr. Brower and Dr. Miyasoto, they touched on it. It's super critically important to know that the initial impulse of these operators is say, we're just gonna do battery electrics. And then they talk to the electric utility. And then they look at the distribution circuit grid constraint, and they can't do it all with electricity. So then you have to pivot and go kind of a rearward march where you take what we call non-wire alternatives, whether they're these advanced microgrids that we're discussing. You do a mix of green waste digestion using the food co-digestion at the site to create electricity for the battery electric charging. And then on the back end, I've engaged some partners to create solutions to manage the cellulosic waste that's left over to provide the balance of syngas needed to feed electrolyzers, to create hydrogen and power the remainder of the fleet. And that's the way where we relieve the pressure. The electric utility is under a lot of pressure right now. And we can actually take that grid constraint pressure away from them by going behind the meter and creating this best solution from stationary energy, from municipal solid waste, decarbonize the whole way, and then electrify and use hydrogen for the balance of that municipal solid waste fleet. So happy to talk offline in more detail, but hopefully that starts to answer that question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor Serna, for the question. Let me add to what JR mentioned is that you heard, I think Jack talked about the ARCHES program, right? So the state is submitting to the Department of Energy for the hydrogen shot, and much of that is going to be renewable production of hydrogen, right? So the feedstocks will be much like JR was saying as municipal solid waste and ag waste, which we think is important. But what we don't want to do is get into a box where we only require renewable hydrogen. At this point, as Tom was saying, we need to kickstart the market. And by adding this layer of it has to be renewable is going to increase the cost. And then many providers, such as First Element, we're going to have to pass some of that cost on to the customer. So you're making something that's difficult, even more difficult and less affordable. So we would just encourage that as we start this market, let's get the markets sustainable before we start constraining it.
I know that there are others that want to chime in, but to that point, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we're going to be sincere about the hydrogen space being zero emission, when it comes to especially electrolysis, the electrolysis that's deployed to manufacture the hydrogen, that electricity has to be renewable. You need to go back, right, and make sure that stream of electrons is actually coming from something other than coal-fired plants.
That's correct. Right. So if we should just treat all the zero-emission technology fuels equitably, we believe, right? But at the current moment, there just isn't sufficient renewable electrolysis to hydrogen that can power this market that really kickstart it, especially for heavy-duty trucks.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It's a great question, and the follow-up questions are also great. There's a lot of topics there. The bioenergy routes are forever with us. We will always have waste streams from our agriculture, from our own bodies, okay, that we must deal with. And as a result, these are super important. And they also, in the early markets, are very likely to be the least cost options because we already have to manage the waste anyway. And so, this is a really nice idea that you and JR have been talking about, right? Let's couple the management of the waste, which is required anyway, with a beneficial use of zero emissions hydrogen technology. So this is forever going to be good. On the other hand, if you look at how much energy we will need in society, this will only meet a certain fraction of it. It's order of magnitude 20% of the energy. And this is why there's a lot of focus on let's scale the electrolytic part, which could be much, much larger contribution to renewable hydrogen and renewable economy in the end. Again, we forever have to do that, so let's do it. It's good. Regarding the renewable energy content, we have a 50% renewable electric grid here in California. And so if you charge on the average California grid a battery, you're getting only 50% renewable, not 100%. Okay, so you could do the same with an electrolyzer, get 50%. You could also do way better if you just operated the electrolyzer during the middle of the day and didn't use it at night. Then you can get like 90% renewable content. Okay, so there's these ways in which we can transition from what we are at today to eventually getting the 100% renewable because our grid's going to be zero carbon by 2045. Okay, so this is what we should do, is jump hydrogen onto the same path that we have batteries today. Let's put it onto the same sort of grid. Let's put it onto this and keep decarbonizing the grid and keep decarbonizing hydrogen. Yeah.
One follow-up. Are there any pilots that any of you know about, pilot projects that are attempting to use solar for electrolytic hydrogen production?
Absolutely. There's all kinds of them. Almost all of the CEC-funded projects are exactly that. They use on-site solar and purchased solar for renewable hydrogen production. Most of it's behind the meter and directly only using their own solar because that's the cheapest way to go, because if you have to use the grid, you have to pay all of the services, and that adds like 2/3 more cost to the electricity. Yeah, most of them are behind the meter.
Thank you.
All right. I have a question. Don't know for who it's a couple of questions. First of all, the mythology of hydrogen fuel cells or hydrogen technology not being safe. I don't know, maybe this is for you. How do you debunk that?
So first, hydrogen has been produced and distributed and used as an industrial commodity for decades, right? The applications we're using it for today for transportation and for backup power, primary power, are fairly new. So there are, I think CGA wrote their first hydrogen safety standard, over 50 years ago, right? And with the advent of specifically hydrogen and fuel cells in transportation, I work in codes and standards also. There's been a lot of work in safety codes and standards. The Center for Hydrogen Safety is, like I said, an international organization that came out of the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, funded by Department of Energy, and has been working on safety in hydrogen for as long as the industry, these new applications have been around. So, for example, the vehicles that I drive, the Toyota Mirai, it is absolutely subjected to the same safety standards as any other vehicle on the road, right? The safety standards start at the component level all the way up to the system level, and we are now on the third and working on the fourth iteration of the NFPA 2 standard which is the hydrogen technology standard for infrastructure, putting in hydrogen projects, and there is a very large effort to harmonize safety codes and standards nationally and internationally. And I participate in those efforts as well. So it is a sort of behind the curtain thing that does get asked, but not often. And I'll just say there's as much investment as you've seen from industry on the development of the technology. I think it's fair to say there's been as much work and investment from just the people power in creating the safety standards and getting the safety into the codes that we need for implementing this. And it's always developing, right? It's never static. It's a dynamic process. So.
Thank you.
And Chair Kennedy, could I just add one thing? So
Absolutely.
we built 40 stations, several of which are right next to apartment complexes. So in that 10 years' time, we've developed a expertise in siting hydrogen stations in gas stations right next to residences. So we've addressed all those safety issues, and knock on wood, we haven't had a single hydrogen safety issue.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes.
Perhaps a couple of anecdotes to kind of augment this safety question. First and foremost, I spent 8 years on a submarine and had an electrolyzer operating 24/7 to keep us viable inside, so I got to sleep next to one. So they make a nice white noise, actually, when they're running. Even perhaps more important, especially in the logistics world, the warehouse world, there's been a big advent of hydrogen-powered forklifts within confined spaces within buildings.
Yeah.
And they were actually put in there specifically to limit the environmental and health damage to people and their lungs with respect to propane emissions. And that has gone very well with all these industry standard kind of behind-the-scenes work that Jennifer mentioned. So I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
Thank you. And then kind of a very, very broad question. As somebody who was in the electric vehicle industry in 1991, along with several people in the room, Mr. Taylor included, here we are, decades later, and we're now seeing some serious market impacts of battery-powered electric vehicles. Where are we on that scale with hydrogen, and why is it that it's not going to take us another 30 years?
Well, I'll make a couple of comments and see how it goes from here. First of all, we should realize that the investment in infrastructure for hydrogen is much larger at the beginning than it is for battery electric vehicles, because battery electric vehicles can rely upon electric charging at home. There's no alternative for those of you who are driving a hydrogen vehicle. And so the infrastructure investment at first in hydrogen should be larger, and then in the end, it ends up being cheaper to actually install hydrogen per unit of energy delivered. This is why, for example, all of the bus plans and the zero-emission bus plans, which started about 70% battery, 30% hydrogen, have actually switched in the last iteration, because they've now been considering the infrastructure cost and the total cost of ownership when you have hydrogen plus fuel cell buses is cheaper than all the electric investment that would be required for, let's say, 70% decarbonization through batteries. Okay, so all I'm trying to say is that upfront investment must be bigger for hydrogen because we start from zero.
Got it.
Okay. Let me just say that around the world, though, several jurisdictions, including California, but also Japan and Korea and a lot of Europe, have started to invest in this infrastructure. And so we end up have a starting point for this. On the other hand, the investments in batteries have been much larger in every one of these jurisdictions. So I would suggest that we have not yet begun to invest sufficiently in hydrogen. We may with the hubs, okay, that have come from the federal government, and with the production tax credit and investment tax credits that come with the IRA. Okay, so these sorts of things are just the beginning of hydrogen. Now, let me just say that our cost models suggest that these sorts of investments will start to bring down the cost very rapidly, like they did, surprising some people, with solar, right? People didn't expect solar. A lot of people didn't. I knew it would, because if you do the science and you look at how you build solar panels, how you build electrolyzers, how you build batteries, you can see that the scale of economies is going to bring this down. So The key thing that has to happen in the end, like JR is saying, is that we have to have viable businesses that can make a profit in the end, and it ends up being the most economic solution for people. And that's when we're going to start getting rid of the fossil and using all the hydrogen, batteries, all of those technologies that we need.
Thank you. Mr. Swenson.
So from a technology provider, we're driven by regulation. We're a heavily regulated industry. Previous regulations have really been, how do you make the combustion engine cleaner? The latest version of the regulations is, how do you get to zero? So if we're going to stay a viable company, we have to figure that out. And as we look at it, there'll be a role for batteries, and there'll be a role for fuel cells. In fact, we have a local presence in West Sacramento where we do our fuel cell development. And I would, if any of you want to have a tour, just let me know. I'm happy to, to facilitate that. So we're making the investments so that we can stay another 100 years. I mean, there's nobody within Cummins that says, oh, we're going to run this, we're going to run the gravy train on internal combustion out, make as much as we can and hang, close the doors. That's not the plan, right? So the rules changed. And that's what's going to drive the investment, and we're going to have to deliver these products. Now, what's the exact time frame? There's debate, right, about exactly, but you're going to see it roll in for different applications, just like you did for batteries. Right? There's going to be early adopters where it makes sense. There's going to be other ones that sort of lag, but that's why it's not going to take as long.
Thank you very much. That's all I have from the board. Do we have public comment? And while you're looking at that, I also want to point out that thank Ben Toby from Fuel Cell Energy for being here today. Many of us had an opportunity to go down to Long Beach, Port of Long Beach, to visit their facility, and is part of what spurred us having this meeting today. So thank you for being here. Madam Clerk? Yes, Director Daniels.
Okay. First, I want to thank the chair, definitely, and Dr. Ayala and the panel for being here. Man, what an incredible presentation. And for Dr. Ayala and me, anytime the word hydrogen is mentioned 70 times, and I might have lost count, it's a good day. And so I hope more than anything, and somebody mentioned that we are the leader in the big trucks and getting things going, and I hope that Sacramento becomes the organization that's looked to when we see more realistic and more market-based opportunities to move away from fossil fuels. The push for electric, I think more and more the realization is that it has been unrealistic, and so as we improve this is the answer. And so again, anytime we have a meeting and the word hydrogen is mentioned 70 times, it's a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Do we have any public comment cards?
Yes, we do. So first on the list, we have Henry Lee in chambers to give a public comment.
And let me mention, anytime you can get Henry Lee to come to your meeting, you know it's a success.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and the panel members, and Dr. Ayala for hosting such important workshop. I'm Henry Lee, General Manager, CEO of Sacramento Regional Transit, or SACRT. SACRT and the Air Quality District have been working together very closely on this subject in last several years. And SACRT is a major partner in pursuing hydrogen solution in this region, because more than 50% of the GHG emission originate from the fuel cell, fossil fuel transportation sector. And we're excited about this, the possibility of zero-emission fuel cell options like hydrogen, and it will play a significant role in meeting state requirements to decarbonize our entire bus fleet. We have been very diligently working with Air Quality District and other partners in conducting a hydrogen feasibility study to tell us more about which bus routes. We have more than close to 100 bus routes, and which bus routes are most compatible with the hydrogen bus operations. And we had multiple tours in different parts of the countries to say how they are operating this type of stuff. In the meantime, some California transit peers are already running successful hydrogen bus fleet. And as you know, by 2029, all California transit agencies' bus purchases must be zero emission, either hydrogen or electric. However, let me say first, Sacramento has a fleet of 600 buses, and currently 24 are hydrogen battery buses. As you know, the electric battery buses, 24. We don't have hydrogen yet. But the electric buses have some shortfalls, or the technology has some shortfalls or limitations because such as the short range or long, fueling cycles. So we have to buy actual buses to keep enough buses on the service where other buses are being, or 1/3 of other buses are being charged up. So in this case, we will need 1.5 electric bus to replace our current 1 CNG bus, because our CNG bus can run, one bus can run 300 miles, but the electric bus only be able to run like about 150 or 180 miles after charged up. And in this case, we will need about 900 electric buses to replace our current 600 electric buses. So that is why hydrogen buses are more attractive to us, because we don't need to buy actual buses to replace our 600 current electric buses. But the switch to electric and hydrogen also means building charging facilities to support them. Like our panelists already mentioned, the initial investment for hydrogen is much bigger. But later on, the cost will gradually reduce. For example, if we use the hydrogen buses, we don't need to buy, every two. We don't buy additional, 1/3 of the additional bus to replace the current, CNG buses. So we are actively right now exploring potential sites for our new bus facilities to meet our fleet transition plans or needs. And we have heard, or have been actually working on with multiple hydrogen production companies in the last 2 years. Those companies have expressed a strong interest to build hydrogen facilities in our bus facility sites. And actually, right now, we're in the process of developing RFP, hydrogen RFP, to speed up this process. So again, appreciate for this important workshop, and please know that SACRT is a committed and willing partner in this whole process. Thanks.
Thank you, Henry. I believe Director Cerna has a question. Henry?
It's not a question, Henry, and I appreciate you being here and your comments. It's a suggestion. As one of your directors, I know that we have a number of relatively new members on the RT board. But what I would like to suggest is, if there's enough interest among the RT board members and RT staff, is maybe arrange a field trip to see AC Transit's fueling facility. It's actually, I think, pretty ingenious because it functions to not just serve the hydrogen fuel cell needs of the bus fleet, but it also has a public side. And so in terms of kind of understanding what's out there, and of course, we all want to avoid reinventing the wheel, there are actual existing facilities that are fairly close by to us that I think can serve as models for that purpose.
Absolutely, we definitely will do something like that. Actually, last month I was, in Orange County hydrogen facility to visit what they are doing. I think we have, did a lot of research, done a lot of research with Air Quality District and other partners, and I guess this is almost the time to take action now. That's why we are, developing an RFP. And like I was joking with Vice Chair, Aquani about, when she becomes the chair 2 years, or a year and a half later of Air Quality District, if that's the case, and she can actually cut the ribbon for the first hydrogen facility within Sacramento's bus maintenance facility.
So you're going to wait for a year and a half when I'm out here, is that it?
No, we're going to build to cut in the ribbon. We need
My body's
about
not
a year
cold
and a
yet,
half.
Henry. Next.
If I may mention, also AC Transit has a 5x5 study comparing various, powertrain systems for buses, and I think there's 3 iterations of that. It's available online, but I'd be happy to send a link if you haven't seen that yet.
Thank you.
And I just have one minor point there. Thank you so much, SAC-RT, for all you're doing for introducing zero emissions. One of the things that you didn't mention, though, is the infrastructure cost for the fueling. Because, yes, you need to buy more buses if you have battery electric, but you also will have to pay for the charging infrastructure. And so this, and there's going to be a balance. Some batteries, yes, for sure, and the electric utility service that serves that, but then also some fuel cells plus the hydrogen fueling that serves that. And you just got to look at all those costs of the infrastructure, fueling infrastructure, charging infrastructure.
Thank you.
The next person I have, Mr. Greg Fishman in chambers to give public comment.
Which hat are you wearing, Greg?
Well, I have them both in my pocket, but I'm wearing neither.
Okay.
So most of you know that I'm a member of the SPUD Board of Directors, and I also work for Sacramento Regional Transit. You just heard from Henry. But I'm here really as a private citizen who drives a Hyundai Nexo fuel cell electric vehicle. I will tell you that it's great technology. It is as close as you can get to the current situation that most people have with an internal combustion engine. You drive to a fueling station, you plug it in, you can fill it up in 5 or 6 minutes usually. And when I get a full fill, almost 400 miles in range. So it is really, really great technology. It is especially important, I think, when we look at this through an equity lens, that we're not going to be able to install electric vehicle charging infrastructure in many multifamily settings, and some people are never going to be able to afford that local charging at home. So when we look at how do we provide zero-emission vehicles for people who are at that lower end of the income spectrum, hydrogen has some really interesting possibilities. Right now, the cars are expensive, the hydrogen is expensive, but as those come down, I think it provides a real alternative that electric vehicle charging may not for some folks. And again, this is all in balance, right? We know that EVs are already a part of the landscape and a growing part of the landscape. I think we need to consider what role and how large a role and where hydrogen can also continue playing a role. I did want to mention, respond to your question, Chair Kennedy, about safety. So I also have at home a Honda Pilot that has a gas tank of about 18 gallons, and I think nothing of filling that up and driving around, sitting essentially on a very explosive potential. And if I were ever in an accident where that fuel tank were to rupture, I would be sitting on 18 gallons of gasoline. It falls in your lap, essentially. With hydrogen, should there be a similar kind of accident where the fuel tank is ruptured, it's lighter than air, it floats away and it dissipates. Is it possible that it would combust? Absolutely. I think less likely, and certainly I feel very, very safe in this vehicle. Again, when you consider the alternative that we're also very, very used to in driving around sitting on, 10 or 15 or 18 or 20 gallons of gasoline. I guess I would just urge, well, first of all, the fueling situation right now in Sacramento is not particularly good. There were 3 stations in Sacramento, 2 of them Shell stations, and Shell has decided to close both of those for reasons that I have not really been, has not been explained to me particularly well. That leaves 1 option in West Sacramento for fueling. So please come and develop a few more fueling stations in Sacramento. Other than that, and I've driven it to the Bay Area and to Monterey, and where there are additional fueling options, it's pretty easy. There's an app that shows you where they are. It's very easy, again, quick. You plug it in 5 minutes, you're ready to go with it, with essentially a full tank. So you will hear a lot about how hydrogen is best for medium and heavy duty vehicles, and that may be true. There may be more benefits for those vehicles than for personal, but the personal vehicles are still great technology, and I would urge you not to forget that as you deliberate and debate how to go about increasing hydrogen as part of our solutions. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Greg, and thank you for being here. Director Desmond.
Thank you, and thank you, Greg, for being here, because actually I was thinking when we started this, I knew Jennifer wasn't the only one with a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle in the audience today. And I was thinking, before you came to the podium, I was thinking about a conversation you and I had after you bought your vehicle about the West Sac being the only charging station that's available. And I guess my question is to Dr. Ayala or anyone else, these other 2 stations that are no longer delivering hydrogen, they've closed down. Do you know why that is? I mean, that could be speculative, but.
So I'll give you the short answer. As the panel alluded to, the market is still developing, and there are a number of pinch points. It's still fairly dynamic. And for Shell, in this particular case, unfortunately, they've decided to go in a different direction, and it was basically a business decision. I mean, you can imagine it's a global company, and they are assessing the opportunities not only in Sacramento and California, but around the world. And it is unfortunate, because I do want to echo what Mr. Fishman said. I mean, the fueling situation for drivers, personal car drivers, is not good right now. But just like we were willing to fund and work with Shell, we're definitely going to be speaking with Dr. Miyasato. And as Mr. Fishman said, we do need more stations. So again, I think it's a reflection of just the dynamics in the market, a market that is still developing, a market that is still early on.
Okay, and I know a couple of you have comments as well, but I'm also going to be, I've been talking to an applicant, Greg, you and I had discussed, someone who's looking at building a gas station in my district, and we had a discussion about incorporating hydrogen into that. So I'm going to be connecting him with you to have a discussion about any kind of incentives to do that. But who else should I put him in contact with? Dr. Ayala, or any of you? Someone who's, from a land use perspective.
You can send them.
Okay.
You can send them all our way, and we know who to work with.
Okay.
Before I go to Director Maple, I believe we have 2 panel members who'd like to.
Let me just make a comment. Thank you for bringing that up, Board Member. So just a point of clarification. So the McClellan Park station that this board funded will have both heavy duty and there'll be a light duty side. So all of our heavy duty stations are called multi-use. So on one side is truck fueling, and then separated by completely different dispensers, we'll have our typical light duty fueling, where we have 4 simultaneous fueling positions. So you'll be able to fill your light duty vehicle there as well.
Great.
Thank you. Mr. Woolman.
I think you had one more, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Thanks. Just to add to Matt's point and Dr. Ayala's point, One of the things that we're working on at Overwatch Capital with our modular data centers is to free up grid capacity on the electric side with a microgrid to then allow the consumption of time of use electricity, as Dr. Brower spoke about, during the good time of the day for solar, 9 to about 3 p.m., to then take medium-term energy storage through electrolysis units to generate hydrogen, to save it as a backup power source for electricity, time of use arbitrage. But when it's not needed for that, we then have excess hydrogen we can then deliver as nodal distributed fueling resources to meet the needs of the public on the transit side. So this is basically kind of the adaptation of industrial to then energy storage to then transport. That's the kind of bridge that I'm seeing. And it tucks in very well with respect to existing businesses on that level.
Great, thank you. Director Maple.
Yeah, Greg, thank you again for being here, and just really appreciated your comments about the need to have, all these different resources. As someone who represents, 80% low-income communities, I think about this a lot. You can layer on my district of where, public electric chargers are, and you can see that there are virtually none. And so when we talk about transferring people over into these new technologies, what does that mean for low-income folks? And so I know that you touched on this a little bit, but I don't know, maybe since you already sat down, maybe this is something that you can talk about is what does that cost look like now? And then what do we see that cost looking like in the future in terms of the hydrogen for individuals?
Let me add, I'll give the boots on the ground answer. So right now, I think you heard some of the testimony from, I think it was Greg and Dr. Ayala. So hydrogen fueling is difficult right now, and there's a couple reasons for that, and it's very expensive. So the vehicles are expensive, the fueling infrastructure is expensive, and it's really what Jack touched on. It's a nascent industry. Hydrogen's been around for decades in the petrochemical industry, but not for specifically fueling vehicles as a transportation fuel. So all of that is nascent. Right, so the equipment that we're using is prone to failure. The cost for the hydrogen itself is very expensive because it's not an industrial use. And so all of those things and the processes we're developing. Right? But right now it's expensive. The good news is when Toyota and Hyundai and soon to be Honda, when they lease you the vehicle, they give you a fuel card. So the driver can use those fuel cards for up to 3 years, up to a certain mileage limit. But that's not sustainable in the long run, right? So as Jack was saying, as we get more production online, as all that comes in, all that cost stack is going to reduce. And the goal is really get it to be equitable with diesel and gasoline. Right? And that solves kind of the fuel side, but you still also have to bring the cost of the vehicles down. Right? Right now, they're pretty expensive, right? And so, but there's a couple programs with Valley Can where they are taking off-lease Mirais, and they provide those to low-income drivers, and they're actually using our station up in Harris Ranch, and they're subsidizing the cost of the fuel. So that's a way to start for those low-income drivers to understand the benefits of the vehicle, but in the long run, we've got to bring all those costs down so it's an equitable choice for all consumers.
Great, thank you.
Vice Chair Aquino.
Thank you. Chair Kennedy mentioned earlier that some of us have had the opportunity to go down to the Port of Long Beach to the fuel cell energy facility. And when we were down there last month, something that Dr. Ayala said really resonated with me was that as we're learning about this and being exposed to this information, we can't keep it to ourselves. We have to be the messengers, the ambassadors in our own communities. And I can tell you quite candidly, when I'm talking with my friends and family and neighbors, no one is thinking about buying a hydrogen car. What would be, the 2-sentence elevator pitch or something, or the tagline that, if I wanted to get this out there for people, that they ought to be thinking about they're clean, they're safe. I mean, what is it that I can take back? It's just in layman's terms.
So the very first thing that I would note is anything that requires rapid fueling, long range, or heavy payload will eventually prefer hydrogen as the zero emissions choice compared to batteries. So the light duty sector doesn't necessarily need all of this, but In some cases it does, right? So if you're an Uber driver, or if you have to use your car all the time, rapid fueling helps a lot. If you have to go a long distance, right? You have to travel a long distance. You're going to have vehicles that can go further on hydrogen than they can on a battery charge. In the long run, we were talking about cost. The amount of material you need for making a fuel cell engine compared to a battery engine is less. Now, there's some very precious things that we have to use, and those are very expensive, but those are also easily recycled. So we have, I think, a long-term cost trajectory for fuel cells that's actually lower than batteries, but today it's higher than batteries. Again, mainly because it's not built in mass manufacturing yet. Yeah.
That's a long elevator ride. Mr. Swenson.
Okay, I started with the 3 points, but then I went further. I'm sorry.
Professor
I'm
Brown.
sorry. That's very good. You got me.
You all know that Jack's a professor, and we go through this with him all the time in various meetings. I wanted to touch on this from a commercial aspect, because that's the world I live in, is medium and heavy-duty commercial applications. Fleets have heard the message around decarbonizing. They are super interested in hydrogen. They think it's a really good solution for their application. They are ready to adopt internal combustion hydrogen today. So what's stopping them? The regulations. The regulations are so prescriptive that it has to be zero today that they're prevented from investing and getting the volume up on hydrogen production so that the cost can come down. I don't know that I have a silver bullet solution to that, other than if they could get some credit, maybe not the equivalent credit, but some credit in some of the Resources Board rules, that would allow them to adopt. It would get the infrastructure kick-started, it would get the volume up and the cost down.
Thank you. Dr. Miyasato.
Let me try to get back to the elevator speech. So depending on your audience, Vice Chair, if it's a consumer and they live in the Sacramento area, as Greg mentioned, I would just warn them, it's really hard to get fueling right now. So wait until the first element station is built in McClellan Park and they can fuel it there, right? If they're in an area with ample fueling, like in Southern California, yeah, it's a great deal. Fuel's covered for essentially 3 years.
Yes, sir.
The way that I look at it and message it, especially for people in California, you get to invest now, if you can afford it, into these clean technologies to offer yourself cost predictability against energy inflation into the future with legacy fuels, while simultaneously cleaning up your air basin. It's a win-win.
Thank you.
May I add to that?
Yes.
So the elevator pitch for a light-duty vehicle customer is it replaces your gasoline vehicle. You have short refueling time, long range. The caveat is the infrastructure, and we definitely, need, given the infrastructure, right? This is a replacement, and in the case of me and my family, it absolutely is. My husband, we offset that with an SUV, so there's a balance there. But my car's the fuel cell, and his is the SUV. So.
Thank you. Clerk.
I have Mr. Nick Advis in the chambers to give comment.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Air District Board. Nick Avdis with Avdis and Cucci on behalf of Fuel Cell Energy. We're going to combine our time, so I just wanted to thank Chair Kennedy for your leadership, but I also want to thank your staff. Dr. Ayala has really been a thought and opinion leader, as well as Jaime and others, and Rafe and folks at the Air District. And it really does take, like you said, Member Aquino, how do I do that when I'm talking to people? Well, you're elected to make decisions, and you can make decisions that affect that sphere that you're dealing with for that decision. A case in point is the Regional Sanitation District and the recent announcement of the contract award for treating the biogas out at the regional plant, which, as we've heard this today, is a small piece, but it's low-hanging fruit. But it was a difficult decision, and it was not without gnashing of teeth to get to the point of even grabbing that low-hanging fruit. But in any event, you all should be commended. I think this workshop is certainly a step in recognizing the potential of hydrogen in the region and our clearing air future. But I'm going to hand it over to Ben Toby from Fuel Cell Energy to talk a little bit about their company and what they're doing in places like Long Beach and sort of what the future holds.
Thank you, Nick, and good morning. Chair Kennedy, thank you very much for the opportunity, and to the board. My name is Ben Toby. I'm with Fuel Cell Energy out of Connecticut, California native, but I've been in Connecticut for the past 20 years, UCI grad, so good to see you guys again. But I just wanted to make a couple of comments. First of all, and it's no secret to the people in this room, but there's local benefits associated with hydrogen and fuel cell technology as compared to combustion technology. That having to do with air pollution. We draw upon a legacy of experience with fuel cells that goes back several decades here in California. And really the primary motivation for that development over that period of time was not necessarily decarbonization, but rather urban air quality. Fuel cells for the generation of power from natural gas or what have you emit about 10 times less of the ozone precursors that we're also focused on mitigating here in California. And so, when it comes to installing these systems, fuel cell, hydrogen type systems in local communities, you can count on the fact that they will have a much cleaner environmental footprint as opposed to, combustion-based technology. So I think that's, it's important. It's kind of blocking and tackling type of stuff, but it's important that we keep that in mind from a local impact and, frankly, environmental justice kind of perspective. The second thing I would say is that even though there's a strong sense of unanimity or at least consensus here in this room around the benefit of hydrogen, it's largely unknown outside this room. And that's why I really want to echo what others have said in thanking the board for its leadership in putting forward this kind of technology. And what Nick just referred to is just yesterday, the board over at Regional SAN, many of you are the same people, approved a winning project there for that Biogen project, which will incorporate a fuel cell, namely a fuel cell energy fuel cell. And we're really delighted that it was a bit of a slugfest to make that happen because, frankly, the folks who have to run that plant are relying on technology that they know works and is, from the past, if you will. And so there's a lot of work and leadership that needs to get done in order to continue to open up that aperture of the possible when it comes to deploying new types of technology. And that's where you all come in. So. And then finally, I'll say, too, is that the fuel cell industry is to a great extent, a domestic U.S. industry. Fuel cell energy is out of Connecticut, but there's a lot of strong manufacturers and technology developers and providers that are manufacturing these systems here in the U.S. The plant in Long Beach that the Vice Chair referred to a moment ago, 86% of that plant was manufactured here in the United States, and we're extremely proud of that. The Inflation Reduction Act requires 40%, U.S. content to get that domestic kicker on the incentive. We're at 86%. So important also not to lose sight of, that impact and, U.S. manufacturing. So enough said. Just want to, again, thank you for your leadership and for the opportunity to make some comments.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Toby. Appreciate it.
I have Mr. Paul Lau in chambers to give public comment.
I appreciate everybody. This is an important enough subject, and we have many speakers who came from a ways, so I appreciate that, we're going a little long, but looking in the audience, we're down to about staff at this point, so shouldn't be too much longer.
Okay, well,
Mr. Lau.
thank you, Chair Kennedy, and thank you, member of the board. I think for convening this actually a very important workshop to talk about technology, I think absolutely is going to be fundamental to get to a clean energy future. So I'm actually speaking on behalf on the other hat that Director Fisherman plays. So I'm the CEO and General Manager of SMUD, and SMUD has been actually looking at the technology of hydrogen for 2 decades. So I'm just going to tell you, 3 decades. So from that standpoint, so what we're looking at right now, we absolutely believe that this is not a either or, it's an and. So when you talk about the transportation sector, we SMUD firmly believe that both hydrogen and electric plays a very, very important role to actually get to a clean energy future. So SMUD is absolutely committed. In fact, we already actually visited, a lot of electrolyzer plants in California, in the U.S., And we are actually working actively, very closely right now with CARB, with Dr. Alberto Ayala, my good friend here, and also with Regional Transit in terms of bringing hydrogen production into California. In fact, we actually have two projects that we actually have, working right now with with Air Quality Management District. One is to try to drive down the cost of producing hydrogen in the Sacramento region. So we're actually working with Air Products to see what is one of those things that we can do to demonstrate to drive down the cost of production of hydrogen. I think you heard, from the panel that right now hydrogen is still very expensive. It's about $6 per kilogram. And I've actually had a conversation with Secretary Granholm from the Department of Energy. Right now, they're on path to try to bring from $6 per kilogram to $1 by 2030. So from a power sector perspective, right now, hydrogen is one of those cutting technologies that we absolutely need. I think most of the board here knows that SMUD, we have a very, very ambitious zero carbon plan. I think, in fact, we have one of the most ambitious plan in the nation for power utility, try to completely remove all our carbon emissions from our power supply by 2030. 15 years ahead of the state mandate. And we see hydrogen as really one of those cornerstone technologies that we need. Currently, right now, gas turbines, can only burn about 30% hydrogen. But we're very, very encouraged by the industry. Starting this year, Caterpillar is going to come out with a 2-megawatt engine that supposedly can burn 100% hydrogen. And then the other big piece is actually transportation. I think you heard the panel talk about how expensive it is right now. Even if you can bring down the cost of producing hydrogen, you still need to transport those, to the users, either from the transportation sector or the power sector. And right now, I know there's a lot of research right now in terms of what do you need to do to enhance or improve or add additional capacity to transport hydrogen. And I know DOE is working a lot with that. So I just want to won't take too much of your time. I just want to let you know that SMUD is very, very committed to hydrogen. In fact, I heard, you heard Director Fisherman talk about some of the challenges right now with people who owns fuel cell cars. With two of the refueling stations shut down, I think now Sacramento area is down to one. So SMUD committed. Actually, we have been working with Air Products to try to bring a temporary refueling station at a SMUD headquarters, so that at least will give some temporary relief for those people that actually have fuel cells car right now. So again, I want to thank, Chair Kennedy and the board right here for convening a very, very important discussion about a technology I think will be helping not only the Sacramento, but the U.S. and the world in going to a clean energy transition. And we're absolutely committed to work, with CARB and, and Dr. Ayala to bring some of the projects to Sacramento. So hopefully, we'll hear from very soon, not too distant future, that, are we successful in getting some of those grants that we've submitted to DOE right now. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for SMUD's continued partnership with the district. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk.
I have Mr. Jim Tabucci in chambers to give a public comment.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm here without a horse in the race, right? I'm just here as a citizen here. And as you can tell by the way I'm dressed, I had no intention to speak today. Was really to listen openly about the hydrogen story. There's a couple points that I'd like to make. So I am an electrical engineer, and I drive an electric car. So that kind of shows my bias a little bit here. But in terms of light-duty vehicles, in terms of normal passenger cars, my belief is that the game is over. Is that electric cars will dominate. And if you look at Tesla's strategic plan right now, they have within their plan to produce 20 million cars per year that are electric. And they're already eating the lunch of so many of the combustion cars right now. I've driven an electric car for 5 years, and I know that the initial concerns were about fueling time and range. Those are not an issue anymore, right? To recharge an electric car right now can take as little as 15 minutes. So I stop off in a charging site and go to an In-N-Out right next door, and I have to rush out of In-N-Out to go retrieve my car to move it before I get charged the idle times. So that the charging times have dramatically come down. My recommendation here, though, is that investments be made in the proper places, right? So investments be made in those areas where it does make sense to have hydrogen. And it sounds to me like those are more in the industrial and public transportation areas. And on the electric side, yes, there is an equity issue that was brought up. I clearly see that. I'm able to have my home with an enclosed garage where I can charge at night and be up and running. And thank you to SMUD that the cost is very low for us, right? But for those who are in apartments who don't have that capability, that's where I would say we need to invest as a public, to be able to invest in those places where you have multifamily dwellings, and that will increase the equity there. So those are just some of my comments as a public citizen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your thoughtful comments. Appreciate it.
So that's the last person I have in chambers. I do have one on Zoom.
Okay. Oh, let's go with Dr. Bard first.
I agree. Those are very thoughtful comments. I do also agree that the investments should be made in those very areas you're talking about. For equity reasons and for the fact that, hey, battery technology is the very best for most of those applications that you're talking about in light-duty space. I just don't think we should call it a battle. It's not a battle. There will be some hydrogen use in light duty in the end. We don't need it for most of them, but it's going to be some because it's going to be the lowest cost solution for everyone to be zero emissions in the end. And it's, again, mostly an infrastructure issue. It's not an issue associated with, how fast you can do it or all these kinds of things. So it's not a battle. We need more and more batteries. We need more and more hydrogen. We need more and more fuel cells. We need it all.
Yes, Mr. Woolman.
Just to add on to Dr. Ryer's point and to your comments, I've long thought that hydrogen is optimally used for energy storage at the grid level to free up the battery production for EV development. That's a fundamental belief I have for kind of low to medium duty vehicles. The more energy intensive ones, especially the garbage trucks of the world, the Vactors at the sewer plants, these other ones, they're going to need these robust drivetrains that involve hydrogen. That's just my take on it.
Thank you. Let's go to the call.
I have Norma Santiago ready to give public comment.
Good morning. Norma Santiago, South Fork of the American River Collaborative for the record. I have a few questions. First of all, I want to thank Director Cerna and Chair Kennedy for talking about specifically on the waste streams as feedstock, utilizing MSW and, like I said, other waste streams. Because of my involvement with the SOFAR Collaborative, I want to talk about yet another waste stream, which is biomass from forest residuals. So my question, there's several questions. Number one is, what analysis has been done with regards to the conversion of these forest residuals into hydrogen, and what technologies may be perhaps implemented? And while we're talking a lot about the advantages of usage, I keep hearing this problem about production costs and infrastructure. So I want to know, and you are an air quality management board. So in the production, particularly when I'm looking at biomass conversion, what air quality issues are there that have to be taken into consideration when conversion of whether it's an MSW or biomass residuals had to be taken into consideration during the production process? And finally, is a question directly for Ms. Hamilton. I was wondering if your organization has established any kind of studies or analysis of what it would take to actually produce hydrogen, what kind of infrastructure, not only for the production and distribution of hydrogen, what kind of needs or what kind of things are needed, or what kind of components are needed to make that work, as well as where you could see the placement of these particular production facilities based upon waste streams and the kind of investment it would take to meet perhaps future demand.
Thank you, Ms. Santiago. If there's any panelists that would like to address any of that, a laundry list of questions, keep in mind we want to get out of here by 11 o'clock.
I can just say briefly that we do have affiliations, and we work with those that are in the biomass and biogas realms, and that in general, one of the benefits of hydrogen is that it can be made from a variety of feedstocks, and we are, as an organization, agnostic as to feedstock. We say, hydrogen from biomass, from biogas, electrolysis, decarbonized, renewable. I mean, it all needs to be there. As far as our organization specifically doing any studies, no, but I'm sure that we can point you in the direction and provide you with resources. And there's a recent, I think, Jack, the paper that Dr. Reed recently, or that will be coming out on the environmental attributes, probably addresses some of the questions she might have, as well as other topics. So we can certainly point you in the direction of those resources.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I think I can add, I don't know the answer on it, but I know who does. Julia Levin, the Bioenergy Association,
Yeah.
this is
Very good
this
point.
is right in her wheelhouse. They're online, bioenergyassociation.org, I think, but she could address all of those.
Yeah, thanks. That's what I was thinking of.
Thank you. Not seeing any other cards up. Dr. Ayala?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And thank you, Ms. Santiago, for the question. This is actually very timely. Next week, we're actually going to be in Winters, and I know that some of you are going to join us for this. And we're actually hosting, along with our 8 other Air District partners that are part of the Sacramento Valley Air Pollution Control Council, we're going to host a conference on ag biomass energy. And to the questions from the audience, we are beyond analysis, and we actually have pilot-scale demonstration projects where we are taking bioresources, be that forestry residue, be that municipal solid waste, be that agricultural waste, and we actually have the technology that bypasses combustion. So to the question about air quality concerns, there isn't any because you're not combusting the stuff like we used to do in the old days. This is actually different technology, and we're actually able to take these bio waste, which are now bioresources, and actually get useful products out of it, including hydrogen. So for us, it's a particularly exciting time. And again, I invite all of you to look at the email from the clerk. You have information. We're going to be in Winters, spending a day and a half with elected officials like you who sit on the BCC, because what we're trying to do is, similarly to today, understand what should be the policy position and the policy interest from the entire Northern California region when it comes to the potential of using growing bioresources to make a transition to something useful like clean hydrogen.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
Just 2 quick points.
Yes.
The first is that every climate model that shows compliance with 1.5 or even 2.5 degrees Celsius picks bioenergy plus carbon capture and storage resources as a major feature for meeting that target. So these are going to be important for climate for sure. Secondly, most of the analyses we have done for the early hydrogen market selects these bioresources as the cheaper ways to make hydrogen in the early years. So while we must also manage these, they also end up being a financial benefit to the hydrogen industry in the end.
Thank you. Anyone else, Madam Clerk? Well, then I'd like to take this time to, first of all, thank our staff, Dr. Ayala, Jaime, Rafe, everybody else who was involved in this, the planning of this. I think that it accomplished what we were up here hoping to accomplish. I really want to thank the esteemed panel that we have put together. This was fascinating and I think very useful information, and look forward to continuing the conversation in the future. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. With that, we come to board ideas, comments, and AB 1234 reports. Anything, Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I just want to say again, thank you. Incredible presentation, probably the best one that I've ever experienced while being on the air board. And then I want to take a moment to publicly wish my son, United States Marine Corps, Corporal Brock Daniels, a happy 23rd birthday. I'm headed down tomorrow to pin him on Monday for his promotion to E5, nice. And I couldn't be more proud of him. Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, Vice Chair Aquino, good luck following that.
Yeah, I won't try. We did touch on it a little bit, but just wanted to officially report out that we, Director Maple and I, and district staff, along with some friends from Sacramento County and SMUD and a local charter school district, went down to the Port of Long Beach. I think it was August 31st. In addition to going to the fuel cell energy facility, we also went to, and we're hosted by Watt EV, which is a zero-emission freight transport company. So very interesting, dovetailed nicely with this presentation, so thanks to staff for these opportunities.
Thank you, Director Maple.
Wanted to just ditto Director Aquino's AB 1234 report. Really enjoyed the tour in Long Beach.
Thank you very much. Right now, we're at public comment for anything that's not on the agenda. Is there a member of the public that would like to address the board on something not on the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, we're adjourned.